everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of That Was A Hoot, a Rocko's Modern Life recap miniseries.
I like that you do the full title. I think we should continue to do it that way.
I don't think I've ever said. I think I've just said that was a hoot. I don't think I ever said the.
I like the full.
You like the full?
I like it. It's nice. It feels.
I feel like a fool.
It feels. Feels official. Can we say official, or we can say the only? I think we're the only. I don't know if we're official.
I've never searched, so I'll say you have.
Yeah,
we're the only.
I haven't.
I don't think you can say official unless you have consent from like a creator. You know what I mean?
See.
Technically, this is the only unofficial.
So we could. You're saying that we could reach out to Joe Murray and say, "Hey, can we be the official Rocko's and Modern Life podcast?" And he says, "Yes."
I don't care. Are you trying to get money? And we'll be like, "Absolutely not."
And he's like, "That's fine.
Yeah, do whatever."
So then we could be the official after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all it takes.
All it takes.
All right. You've heard it here, folks.
I've read all the paperwork.
we know what that means.
I'm an Esquire.
And I mean, officially,
I'm in Esquire.
all you can say is
because of my sweater.
If we're the official podcast, doesn't that just mean that's our opinion? Like, well, it's our opinion that we're the official podcast.
I don't think that's how that works. I think that's it's like literally a branding thing.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like
it's like the blue star next to your Twitter handle.
That would be a check mark. And yeah, I guess so. What I was gonna say was technically like Nintendo has the Nintendo Minute podcast. That is an official Nintendo verified podcast.
I see.
Like that is from people that work for Nintendo. They are directly tied to them. There are thousands of fan podcasts that are like, hey, all we talk about is basically NES games. And they can say we're the unofficial experts on NES because they're not the official experts. They don't work for Nintendo. They don't have their approval of it, but they're doing it because they're fans.
But they could just be the experts. They could call themselves the experts.
Sure.
Because that's an opinion.
That is an opinion, yes.
Gotcha. But official is not an opinion.
It is not.
Okay.
You have to be they have to verify you to be official.
Understood. Before we get started, because we are finishing up season 1 of Rocko's Modern Life.
Holy shit.
I know. This is the end of that.
It's blowing right by.
It went way longer than we thought it was. We thought we'd be done by now with the whole thing.
Everything.
So our plan is to dive into, give a break from the TV show and go into the comic book series for the next, maybe couple of episodes. It's 7 issues is the Marvel run.
For the next couple of episodes, we find out that it takes another 7 years.
We do one.
We'll get to season 2.
1 issue per. No. So that's the plan. But if you would like us to do all of the TV at once and then all of the comics at once, and you're like, I don't necessarily need I don't need a break. I'm enjoying the TV. We could do that. Just let us know. Check us out, IFNZ.net. Look us up on Facebook, whatever it is. And if you want us to do it one way or the other, if you've got opinions, let us know those opinions. Otherwise, we're probably just going to do comic books. But you could change the course of history.
100%.
Let's dive into it.
Episode 12, segment 1, Spitballs.
Spitballs.
This one starts off with Heifer ready to play baseball and Rocko wanting to get his prized foul ball out to take with him.
Now, why would you do that?
I don't know. I guess it's like a lucky charm. There's a lot of people that do superstitious things with sports.
Yeah.
And all kinds of different stuff. Like we were talking about before, like Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
Always wore the puka necklaces, and they did that because it was like they were like good luck charm kind of things. Almost that's how they viewed them. They wore them and they won all of these games, so like that's got to be part of it, right?
Couldn't have been the roids, right?
It could not have been the roids or the rest of the team that helped them get that far,
right? The team never has anything to do with it,
but the puka necklaces 100% do.
Fair enough.
A guy choked on it and then spit it out into Rocco's glove.
Yeah, it's gross. Nasty.
Rocko and Hef play catch, and the ball goes into the big head's yard and broke a flower.
Oh, and Ed's gonna be pissed
100%
because he loves his yard. He's been on like the Rocko equivalent of Better Home and Gardens.
He's been on record as having the finest salmon bushes in the city.
The salmon bushes. He evidently has. He loves his yard so much. He's got a security system that watches for when stuff like that happens. Yeah. And so he knows what's up. And So his security system grabs that ball and throws it into the Shred-O-Matic, which is evidently a product in O-Town. And that's what happens to the ball. So they need to get a new foul ball.
Right. So Heifer takes Rocko out to a ball game to get another one from the O-Town Zeros to get another foul ball from any other team.
They want that ball. That's Jockstrap Day, which is awesome. I guess they sell out because that's a big to do.
A hot commodity.
The O-Town Zeros on Jockstrap Day.
It's really weird for me to think about on this though too, because like the first few times that I went to a ball game, you know, it usually is around that time of year whenever it's closer toward the beginning of the season as opposed to like October whenever it's close to the end.
Yeah.
And they always have theme days, like constantly prior to playoffs and everything like that all the time. Like they have a Game of Thrones day, they have a Star Wars day, they've got all kinds of stuff that you could possibly be.
I see.
And I was like, seeing this makes me think like it's really crazy to think like this has always been a staple.
Yeah.
You know, like even as far back as then. And I never, the first time I went to a ball game, I was probably like in my 20s. I never went to one whenever I was a kid. So I never really knew like, oh, this is a thing that really happens everywhere. I was thinking like, oh, this is just a shtick for the show, you know, just a thing.
But it's actually based on something.
Yeah, but it's like shit that they do all the time there.
Yeah.
And they always give away, like, for example, I wanted to go when it was Star Wars Day this last time at the Cardinals in Bush because they did a bobblehead thing that they did where they had, I think it was like Yadier Molina in Vader's outfit holding a lightsaber, but his head was out and it wasn't, you know, Vader's head or whatever, but it was like the bobblehead of Yadier Molina, but it was dressed up like Vader.
Gotcha.
So that was like a thing they were giving out to like the first 20,000 people that show up, which I thought would be really cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, Backstreet Boys reunion tours make me scared of 20,000 plus events.
a lot of peeps.
It sure is.
A lot of peeps chilling out. So the day sells out because it is Jockstrap Day.
Yes.
And so they get some tickets. They got a scalper. He's hanging out by the porta potty. And so they go to find out where their tickets are. They get in. I was like half expecting for them to not work those tickets.
Yeah.
And so they find out that they're in the nosebleeds because they're like, hey, we're gonna go down to the front and check this out. And they're like, you're up there, and they keep going up.
It
and
is
up
like
and
as
up
high as you possibly. Like they even climb up. Like
they're on top of the lights,
a pole at points and times to get up to where they're at.
Yeah,
nobody else is in the seats either.
No,
up there it's just them.
There's just two seats. There's two folding chairs for the two of them up on top of the light.
It's really crazy because that one they call them the nosebleed seats, and they actually get nosebleeds
because
the
route. Air pressure is so the change
everything's
or whatever
so thin up there that they causes the heifer to get a nosebleed on the way up.
And they go
That's
there.
Not the first time he's had a nosebleed either, too.
Maybe he's got a coke problem.
Yeah. He's got a iron deficiency. He's got low iron.
Yeah.
He's a little anemic.
And Rocco's like, they look like ants down there. And they use their little binoculars, and of course they are ants because that's actually the kind of humor we're dealing with.
Yes. Heifer then spots two empty seats in the front row, so they go down there. They're selling red hot tamales. Heifer takes one, and the guy beside him says, "Tamales make my bottom burble."
Was that the I'm a wild boar guy, or was that different?
I think
similar.
The similar guy. I don't know, and don't quote me on this because I can't remember off the top of my head. This may be the same guy because it's the same voice for the guy that was looking for his mom at the mall.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Mommy?
Yeah.
It's the same voice at least, but I can't remember if it's the same guy. He's obviously not dressed like a toddler anymore. So maybe he did get out of the situation that he was in at the Conglomerates Mall, and then now he's changing into adult clothes.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, I mean, he also sounds like he still is kind of like got toddlers speak like he did back then.
Yeah.
So maybe that's,
that's true. He does say my bottom burble.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's something I said when I was a toddler.
Heifer eats that tamale with a wrapper on. He gets that fire breath and blows it out of duck, which cooks him. He gets some cooked duck in there.
Delicious.
It's, just some pretty standard
little Peking,
humor there.
A little Peking duck. Never hurt nobody.
That's right.
Gumbo, the mascot, comes out. And they all throw stuff at him because they hate him for some reason. I don't understand that.
No, I guess it's just their thing.
Yeah. And Heifer asks why they hate him so much, and Rocko says it's because he's the mascot, which I don't like. All of the other mascots that I can think of are
Beloved?
They are beloved to a certain extent, but they're not like it. We don't live in a time anymore where mascots are like, I want to take my picture with the Bulls bull. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I don't want to I want to take my picture with the Philly Fanatic from, the Philly Flyers.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing. I don't think really anymore like that. They're still there, but they're just like a representation of their team.
It's just another cheerleader,
basically, just in a big awkward costume.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe people do hate them.
Maybe
I don't.
I don't know. I think we should bring the love back to mascots in general. Though I do.
Ooh, tweet us a picture of your favorite mascot.
Yes.
# favorite mascot at Random Hero XIX on Twitter. I want to see him.
Yes. We we don't want to, obviously there are some troublesome mascots. We're leaving that out of this discussion. We're just talking about the fun random ones.
All of them. Doesn't matter. Any mascot you want.
Whatever.
We'll highlight them on the next episode.
Oh my gosh. Everyone leaves the game for something like they're just done. Nobody, the Zeros are losing.
Yeah.
They're just done. And so it's just Hef and Rocko. They're just watching the game.
They can just go wherever.
And so Spike, the hammerhead shark, who is evidently like, he's
the big player.
He's the big player.
Yeah.
He comes out and he's going to he's going to swing a big one. And they're like, oh, Spike's out there. And he's going to get ahead. The Zeros are going to win. And he gets a ball thrown at him, a pitch.
Yeah.
And it goes through one eye.
Yeah.
Through the tube of what is a hammerhead's head.
Yeah.
And out
where the brain lives.
Yes.
And out the other eye. It's pretty fucking gross, really.
It's a pretty gnarly little image there. We get the hup beavers come to save the day and rush him away. And Heifer, who has no judge of any scenario at all whatsoever.
Zero.
While he's on the stretcher and knocked out, is like, can I have an autograph?
But at least he tried. He's trying to help his friend.
He did. You're right. He's
trying to be a good friend. He just doesn't know when to not, try.
Right. Exactly.
So Rocker and Heifer are made to go back to their seats up high, even though there's 0 people in the entire stadium. Right. Foul ball gets knocked up to where they were sitting up high. Rocko chases after it then.
Yeah.
He gets he gets it.
He catches it, yeah.
And then gives it to a little kid. And the angel on his shoulder, because he's had the angel devil kind of
thing
going on, and then the angel knocks him on the head because he did it, even though he was wanting the ball.
And it all kind of nice, heartwarming ending of him just being like, well, it's, that foul ball wasn't that important to me. It'll be more important to this kid growing up because it meant a lot to me as a kid growing up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that all happens, he ends up. They're leaving the stadium. I guess that Spike is okay enough that he comes out. He's wearing like a coat.
He's got like a bandage over one of the eyes.
Yeah, he's got like the little white tape cross bandage thing over
his eyes. I guess the ball, where the one that the ball obliterated.
Yeah,
on the entry maybe went out, and then the other one that just kind of got popped out of socket.
They just put it back in.
They were able to put it back in.
But his brains were fine, even though it went through the whole tubing of everything and was thicker than everything else. Yeah, it's totally fine.
I don't know how hammerhead shark eyes work.
He's walking out, doesn't want to be bothered seemingly, but then kind of Heifer explains a little bit of what's kind of going on, and he gets Spike's chew that he has. That's like a brown version of the green goo that we had that was inside the War Bonds thing.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, like that's what it looks like to me anyway. Yeah. It's like the same shape and consistency in a way, but it's just brown and drippy.
Yeah.
Chews it out to him, gives it to him, asks if he has a pen, doesn't have a pen, so then gives him the chew
instead.
Yep.
It's nasty. Do you have a prized possession from a famous person?
From a famous person.
Yeah.
Well, that was their prized possession, or it's my prized possession because it was from them.
Well, I guess first, because it'd be a lot cooler if you had something that was somebody's and they gave it to you.
Yeah.
So do you have one of those first?
Absolutely not.
Me neither, I don't think. I'm trying to think. But I have things that they've signed. Like I've got a lot of signed things that I think are
I've got
pretty
signed,
swell.
I've got signed books. I've got a signed copy of Fight Club 2 from Chuck Palahniuk.
Yeah.
I've got several signed things that are near and dear to me that I love.
Yeah. I because there's a lot of things that I have that are signed, but I didn't get to like physically meet those people.
Sure.
And obviously that story goes a long way. For instance, I bought the new Kevin Smith book
Yeah.
and it has a signature plate in it where he signed it. But I didn't have him sign it. He wasn't doing signatures, COVID. But that would have been a different story. That would have been way cooler,
Right.
if that was able to
You
happen.
actually got to meet him, and then he signed the book for you.
Right, exactly. But there, I've got a pretty cool, got a cover of Accelerators #1 that has a custom cover drawn by Gavin Smith, who's the artist on that book. And so I really dig that. That's one of my favorites. Just recently, that picture that I've got signed by Mike and Ming of Brian Quinn is like one of my favorite things that I have as well, because got to meet him, and there's a pretty good story to it. So yeah,
I like when we I know you had met him too, as far as I know, whenever saw Butch Patrick at the Cape Comic Con.
Who's Butch Patrick?
Eddie Munster.
Oh yeah, I didn't meet him.
You didn't meet him?
No, I'm not a big Munsters fan.
I am. I'm a big Addams Family and Munsters fan, so I got to meet him. I had him sign the coffin table book that he was doing there.
Cool.
And got some pictures with him and stuff. But it was closer toward the end of the day when we got those, and there wasn't a lot of other people around to do anything. So he actually just stood around and talked to us for like 15-20 minutes about stuff, and it was really neat just to get to talk to him for a bit.
Cool.
So I guess we'll go on to episode 12, segment 2, Popcorn Pandemonium. Got the double P.
That's right. It's a little alliteration, if you will.
Yeah.
So they're going. It looks like Heather brings a bunch of snacks for him and Peanuts. My notes are
for him and Charlie Brown.
Him and the Peanuts gang. For him and Rocko to watch. They want to go through the drive-in, but they go, well, we can just park in Rocco's yard, and Mr. Big Head has a large TV, so we can just watch that. And I guess they evidently have a remote that is the same frequency as the TV he has, so they're able to move it, because he's watching like sports or something.
He's watching golf.
He's watching golf.
Yeah, he's watching golf.
And
it's real quiet, and they changed the channel to
like a horror movie.
Yeah, something like that, and he keeps freaking out about it.
And they go back and forth until the TV eventually
explodes.
Just blows up.
Literally full on explodes.
If you ever wanted to know how a TV blows up, you just have to throw 2 remotes at it, I guess.
100%.
2 remotes, 1 TV.
Ooh, that sounds a little kinky.
You know it.
They go to the Googleplex, which is, I guess, just a large theater.
Lots of movies, I guess.
We get to see a lot of different, as we go through the episode, we get to see a lot of different running trailers for different movies. It's kind of like this is Rocco's version of what Rick and Morty would end up doing with the cable episodes, where it's just like that, like kind of just running like little gags of just like 30 second to 1 minute bits.
That's true.
And pieces of just different shit.
That's a good point.
Of a thing. So it's similar in that vein. If anybody's not watched this and you have seen that,
I wonder what does Google mean? Because Googleplex, this is prior to Google being of existence, right? So does Google mean lots of things or something like that?
Googleplex is a portmanteau of Google and complex, meaning a complex of buildings.
Oh.
Googleplex is the number 10, equivalent to 10 to the 10th power to the 100th power on top of the 10th power.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a extremely large number that they don't even, it's written out of the ordinary and has no decimal notation.
Gotcha. So they knew
it's like just a big fucking number for
anything.
Just the count. A huge, large amount of numbers.
Like it's the opposite of a few.
Yeah.
Is a Googleplex.
Yeah.
And they
like how we're just a pair because there's only 2 of us.
We're not a group.
We're not a Googleplex for sure. We're not a group. We're not a Googleplex. That is a lot of people.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess they're just like, there's a lot of fucking movies going on.
Because there's a multiplex,
basically.
And so they just went like
this is
bigger.
more than a multiplex.
Yeah, absolutely.
$99.95 for 2 tickets.
That's expensive in the 90s. That's expensive in the 2010s.
I mean, it's just there's so many movies.
Yeah,
I wonder if that.
See them all?
I was going to say, I wonder if that means that you can just like you buy those tickets. That's just like, hey, you have until we close at like midnight to watch whatever movies and however many movies you want.
That's a good idea. I wonder if AMC would be down for that.
Patented. Just did it right then. They can't now.
There's like, here's a $20 like
it's up to me to do it.
Here's your $20 day pass.
Yeah,
and you can sit there. You can spend as long as you want.
Yeah,
but you don't get to leave. So it's like
like if you just chose like, hey, I'm gonna be here for like 16 hours. here's the 4 to 5 movies that I know I'm going to want to watch in this order. So that way you can pick the time codes, you know what I mean? Like, and go and do it that way.
It's like going
and then if you get like a 30-minute break to go pee and get your food and refill and snacks and just kind of talk to somebody, text, whatever, if you want to, and then hop back into the movies.
Love this idea.
There's no reason to not do it.
I mean, yeah, what is it going to, like, what are they going to do? Not make enough money off of that?
That's true. That's true. You know what else we could do?
What's that?
We could just have a movie marathon at like somebody's house.
You could, yeah. This is the equivalent to that.
It is. Have we done that?
Done a movie marathon?
Me and you?
Probably.
Do you want to do it now?
I think I'm too old. I can't even sit
Jams. Jams. We were jammies.
We were jammies?
Yeah.
I can't even make it through one movie.
I'll keep you awake.
Thanks.
I don't know how, but I'll find something.
We'll find a way.
Oh yeah, the staff's all wearing Rocko shirts. I forgot about that until I just read your notes. It's so dumb.
It's
everybody thinks that Rocko's in the staff because of it.
He's an employee. They're asking him where movies are at, and he's like, I don't know.
Heifer gets stopped at the entrance because he has snacks on the way in.
Yeah,
a lot of snacks.
He's supposed to not.
Yeah, absolutely not. So they're waiting in line for snacks for hours. They rush into a dark room, but their seats are wet and our bathroom.
They're in the bathroom,
sitting in the urinals,
which is gross.
So this will kind of lead into, there's a lot of different theaters that they end up going into, different shapes and sizes for these theaters as well.
There's like 9-seaters.
There's like a 2-seater one that they sit in, or 4-seater, because it's like them and 2 other people in front of them, but they always have the running ads kind of going on.
Right.
Not ads, but trailers for other movies and shit that are coming out as they're kind of going through.
They asked the staff where the theater is, and the guys, because he's wearing that shirt, the staff's like, you should know, you work here. And he says he doesn't know. Rocko says, I don't work here, and he says, yeah, me neither, unless the boss is watching. So like that's the beginning of the continuation of that, which I just like that line. Yeah, me neither, unless the boss is watching.
Yeah. Rocko steps in, gum in the theater. Kid runs up to him, saying that little weasel stole his gum.
Yes.
Gets his mom to get Rocko for stealing the gum. You didn't chew that gum. It's not yours. I don't know what that's for.
That's the line. That's what the mom
says.
The mom says, that's not your gum. You didn't chew that gum. It's not yours. Because
he pulls it off the ground after he's like stepped off it and like pulls it off the shoe or something and puts it in his mouth.
I think so. Maybe
puts it in his mouth afterwards as well.
The kid is clearly Tom Kenny in a SpongeBob-esque voice. When you hear it, you're like, oh, I know that voice. And it's perfectly like real close to what we're used to hearing just a few years later.
So we get some previews for some movies, as we talked about. We have Enter the Rodent,
Part 7.
So this is clearly a nod to Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee, famous Bruce Lee movie. Not Before I've Had My Coffee. That's the subtitle for the movie.
Name of that's the subtitle of the movie.
Go to another theater since Rocko can't see in that one.
Yes.
So they go to the 6-seater one.
Yep.
They get to see the preview for The Do, which is a horror movie about
hairdo.
a hairdo that's like all like a kind of almost like a greaser gelled up like curly Q hairdo, and it like eats people. Like the hair will go out and grab people and eat.
Yes, and then
the person that's underneath the hair that it belongs to is like none the wiser that it's going on as well. Like they don't have like, oh my God, my hair's eating you. It's just like they don't know what's going on. It's eating people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Rocko and Heifer are like in the 6-seater of like 3 rows of 2, and they're in the middle 2, and there's somebody in the back 2, and then like this giant person like sits in the front. So they leave that one and go to see the Poots, little Poots.
Yeah.
Little Poots.
Little Poots, where are you?
It's starting really, really big, man. Evidently, the Poots says they've had a few.
It's like a Care Bears, Smurf type of thing, almost in a way.
There's a little sign because they're all like definitely in a Smurfs type village, and really, really big man's like adult size, and they're all like Smurf size. But there's a little sign that says "Welcome to Pootville, a stinky community," and all they live in like all little outhouses are their little homes in there. And they look like the chocolate ice cream emoji, essentially.
Basically. Are they different colors though too? Like they're like brown and purple and pink.
It's possible.
I mean,
Poots are all different colors too.
In real life.
IRL.
They're sitting next to a crying, burping baby at that point in time who chews on Rocco's
eye.
pulls it out of his mouth, out of his socket, and it's just like, like rolling it around in his mouth. So they move again.
I mean, I would too.
We get a preview for the next movie, which is Das Put.
Which
the mom
is a German
version of Poots. The mom in the other theater and mom from the other theater and this snack line asks Rocko to kick out a smoking warthog.
Yeah, there's a warthog. He's just rocking out a stogie in the middle of the movie theater, and that mom doesn't want it. She's not having it.
The mom kicks both Rocko and the warthog out of the theater because Rocko cannot do this.
Because she thinks Rocko is an employee also.
Yes.
So she's like, can you kick him out? Do something about this guy. And he's like, I can't, ma'am. And so...
Rather they try to give him like, he doesn't even have a flashlight or something. She gives him one that she has.
Oh, she's like, beat him over the head with that. Yeah. He's like, I don't even have one.
I don't work here, so here's one. And then she all of a sudden has the orange flashlight that all the other employees have somehow. Yeah.
She's an evil lady.
We get a preview for Chameleon Brothers presents Garbage Strike, the musical.
'Cause we're on strike.
And that has the rats.
Yeah.
From what would be the very first premiere episode that we had seen.
And they were trash
brothers.
peoples.
Yeah, the ones that were gone for 6 months because they lost their license or something.
So this goes along with the theory that each animal has a job.
Yes.
And the rats are garbage people.
100%.
Unless they're on strike.
Garbage. We get a preview for Dracula done to death.
Which is like around the time as we were getting like Vampire in Brooklyn and Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of like more Dracula coming up around that time.
One might be my favorite one because it's like super tense leading into the catacombs and the crypt. And they open up the coffin and it's just bones. And it already has a stake through his heart.
Somebody had already killed him.
The Van Helsing's just like, oh, well, I guess we should just go back down now.
Yeah.
All right, job done. And they just like leave. I love that.
Right after the Dracula done to death, the movie starts and it's out of focus. And they're like, focus. That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No.
Like everything's digital.
It can,
but it's a lot.
It would be.
It's kind of like the equivalent of a VCR, where you have to mess with tracking.
I think that if it is knocked out of focus, that would have to be something that somebody did almost on accident because autofocus is for that those devices for like the projectors of nowadays are so like spot on kind of a thing. Somebody would almost have to manually mess with it to get it out of focus in the first place.
I thought so. I was thinking that would be a reference that somebody newer to the ball game may not quite get on there. In the booth is a nervous turtle who's working in there, a filbert type of sorts. And he seems to think that it's fine because he obviously has bad vision, just like all the turtles have that we know of. He thinks that it's
he doesn't
fine,
understand
so he doesn't
what
understand.
everybody's complaining about because his like glasses are 2 inches thick.
Right. And he goes to like look at the lens itself and he like hits his head on the little box and knocks his glasses off, which becomes a magnifying glass type effect on the movie theater screen and burns it up, lights it up.
Fire reaches the popcorn in the storage room. The whole theater starts falling apart because of the popcorn swelling and
so much
breaking down the walls. So then because of that, running out to where they're in their car now.
Yeah, somehow they went to the parking lot.
They got out of the place before the popcorn exploded the building.
Yes.
Got into the car, was not able to start the car.
Yes.
So the car has then now just sitting there idle.
Covered with popcorn.
Covered in popcorn. But what is left of the
theater
is one theater
or
that they
screen,
were just in. We know this because the turtle is still alive and okay.
Yeah.
And the one screen on the wall is still there. So now they're in the drive-in movie experience that they wanted with free popcorn.
Yes.
That they're just eating from outside of the window because it's all around them.
It's got to be filthy.
And then the movie Lethal Odor 9 starts.
That's right.
While they're there. And then as they are starting to watch the film, it starts going out of focus again because the turtle is still controlling the projector.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ending the episode.
Which of all of those fake movies, which one would you like to see the most?
Dracula.
You go Dracula done to death?
Done to death. I think that would be fun.
I think I would go with the Garbage Strike the musical.
I'm curious as to how long the actual movie would be
If the editing was that quick. That's the trailer, so you know
I
that's
imagine
like,
that it's like
that's first 5 minutes probably.
yeah. So like they're like this is like we're gearing up, we're gonna do this, and like 10 minutes in, they're just like, oh, he's dead already.
Yeah.
And I want to know what the rest of the movie is now.
Yeah,
that's my curiosity with it.
I do really want to see the Poots, little Poots.
Yeah.
That's got my.
Are you a Smurf fan? You like that or like Care Bears, that kind of ilk?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't.
David the Gnome.
I don't hate
Gummy bears bounding here, there, and everywhere.
Gummy bears, the shit. But I think that
Gummy bears make you shit.
They are
too many.
I think that has a lot to do more with the property, like the Disney properties, than it has to necessarily do with anything else. I guess. I never really got into Smurfs. I watched them, but it wasn't really my thing. Care Bears, no. Care Bears.
What would the name of your favorite song from Garbage Truck the Musical be?
I mean, there's only one that I know of. Cause we're on strike.
You think it's just cause we're on strike is the name of it?
Well, Garbage Strike is the name of the song. I'm gonna say it's probably called Garbage Strike.
That song is?
Yeah.
And that would be your favorite. That's the only one I'm just.
It has to be my favorite.
I'm giving you room to speculate on if there's another song from there and what it could be and what it would be about.
Like the main song of a musical isn't usually my favorite.
Right.
There's usually like
that would be obviously probably the big showstopper number.
Yeah.
We hear it in the trailer.
Right. I'm usually there's like some like more heartfelt one or
what's your favorite song from West Side Story?
Ooh, it's been a long time since I watched West Side Story, so I couldn't even tell you.
I Want to Live in America.
I don't even remember.
I want to live in America.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I know that song.
Maria.
I remember.
I just met a girl named Maria. Let's hop into episode 13. This is the last one. We got 2 parts, and then season 1 is done.
It's in the bag.
In the bag, as they say.
Yes.
We bought it, put it in there, gave you the receipt. You left the store. 13.1. Segment pitch. 1.
No, cabin fever. Wrong. I knew there was a fever in it.
Fever Pitch is the name of a 2006 comedy.
I like that you think that that's the year. That's good.
I don't know.
It's probably pretty close. Starring Drew Barrymore and
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Yes. Traffic jam
leading to a mountain cabin for the big heads.
They're going to go on they want to getaway weekend.
They have to get away from Rocko.
These neighbors are driving them nuts.
But Rocko and Heifer are also going.
Unbeknownst to the big heads.
Absolutely. Turns out they are going to a mountain cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Did not realize it is the same cabin that got rented out, I guess, to
double booked. What are the odds?
So what do we do there? So Mr. Big Head has it for July 4th.
He messed up.
Yeah, but it's January.
Yeah, because Rocko and Heifer are in the right this time. They're usually the mess ups.
100%. But Rocko and Heifer said, well, they don't mind. You guys can stay with us if you'd like.
Yeah.
And it's not that big of a deal. But Mr. Big Head is not happy about this.
Mrs. Big Head is all about it. She
100%.
She wants her vacation.
She loves Rocko.
She loves boys.
She loves anything that walks with
hello,
stuff.
Boys. Yeah, she's into it.
So Mr. Big Head's supposed to go outside, make a snowman head.
Yeah, they want to do these activities. Angels, snowmen, whatever.
He makes a giant boulder and rolls it past. Mr. Big Head gets squished.
He's trying to like knock out Rocko and Heifer.
Right.
He's like, well, I'll just make this big boulder and take him out. It misses.
Yeah.
It's an epic fail for Mr. Big Head. It just lands right on him instead.
100%.
It does a little loop-de-loop and it just goes boom, smashes him.
Rocko and Hef have a snowball fight with Mr. Big Head, but he hits a bear instead that is just like an innocent bystander. Yeah. So the bear punches him in the face so hard that it knocks his teeth out.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of rocking a little bit and they fall and it's kind of like piano keys.
Pretty good considering like frogs don't typically have teeth anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he didn't really need
Good on him for having chompers.
Yeah, exactly.
Rocko, Heifer, and Mrs. Big Head to pass the time play shadow puppets and ask Mr. Big Head to hop in on the game too.
You play shadow puppets? Puppets? Hello, puppets.
Play shadow puppets anytime soon.
Yeah, have you played shadow puppets anytime? Like, you got a small child? Like,
I do. She's real small.
Does she like shadow puppets?
100%.
You've done that?
She
really?
does. Yeah, we've done it. We did it as recently as today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
In the middle of the day?
Yeah.
You can do shadow puppets during the day?
You can if it's camping time.
Oh, you were camping?
We were camping.
Daytime camping?
Yep.
Backyard?
No.
Oh.
Inside.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
We call it camping. She really likes it. We take a
Make a tent?
blanket, throw it over like the couch and kind of make it like a makeshift tent.
Yeah.
Inside the couch. She's so small, she just kind of fits right there by me.
Right.
And she wants me to, she'll say, turn on the light, please. And I'll turn on my flashlight on my phone and just like have it kind of behind us pointing up. And then we'll make little shadow puppets and stuff do that. Yeah.
I dig it.
So yeah, we do it. We did it as recently as today.
So that's what you do when you're in a cabin also.
Absolutely. Mr. Bedhead is awesome at shadow puppets. Really, really good.
Yes.
Like that should be a profession.
Uh-huh. Yes.
But somehow nobody can guess what he's doing. Doesn't he do like the Mona Lisa and shit like that too? Like, this is like another reoccurrence of that.
Really
kind of
good, like, yeah. He's really, really good at what he does.
Super. Oh, he does the statue of David. Like everything's super intricate.
Yeah.
But whenever it goes back, you just see it like his hands and fingers are just like intertwined and like rotated and wrapped around each other some weird way. But it makes this.
He's a master of light manipulation.
Yeah. It's like a superpower.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mr. Big Head gets mad that nobody can guess this and tells Mrs. Big Head to get her things because it's time
get
to
your
leave.
things.
His yelling at Rocko and Heifer causes an avalanche that will then fall over the cabin and trap them.
Yeah,
completely.
they're stuck. It's all Mr. Big Head's fault.
The news says that there are 2 toads, a steer, and a wallaby trapped.
And
but it shows the actual animal versions of them and not like a humanoid animal for some reason.
Yes.
And they're using metal detectors to try and find them. That's why.
I mean, they know where they're at, presumably because I believe that the chimney is still showing and exposed.
So that and like also the avalanche only happened in like one spot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it covered like an area of cabins. It was just this cabin.
Right.
So all the place where that giant mound of extra snow is at, plus the chimney sticking out, would probably be a dead guess.
Was there a chimney sticking? Did I make that up?
There's just a tiny.
Why didn't they just go through the chimney?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess that would have made
they could try and climb out,
and maybe that makes the episode a lot shorter. Also,
probably.
And also, when you look visually at this, at the very beginning, both of the cars are going up a really steep hill.
Yeah.
To get to this cabin on the top of a hill.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, they're able to get covered by an avalanche of snow.
Further mountain. It's like
there's a giant.
The peak is like curved, like a candy cane. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those.
Spits on the top of it.
Yeah, just a little splooge of snow.
I gotcha.
So Mr. Big Head makes a radio and gets to a fast food restaurant where he is trying to communicate with them to like via this ham radio
like,
that
you want
he's
like
built. And they think that he is just trying to order food through like the drive-through outside somehow.
And Mr. Big Head decides that's not working, so he's gonna try to dig themselves out, and so he leaves and like essentially just hits like a giant wall of snow and goes like he's going out. And the rest of the party decides they're going to play strip poker. And Heifer tells Rocko. And
do you think like through the strip poker thing, is that like obviously Bev is horny?
Oh, she's ready, yeah.
But like, do you think those guys were too? And they were like, yeah, sure. You know, I mean, like, do you think that they're like horny? Or they're just like, I guess we'll take off our clothes.
I think that it started out as like, let's play a poker.
Yeah.
And Bev coerced them into like they lost, and they're like, "Oh, we lost," and she's like, lose the shorts or whatever." Like I think that's where like it started as an innocent game of poker for the boys.
It turned into like the flat out like you're gonna lose everything, including the shirt off your back, kind of a thing. Like the full on like you still have stuff to bet, kind of a thing.
Yes,
gotcha.
Yeah, and so they go from strip poker to scary stories.
Yes.
So Heifer's telling scary story.
Natural progression.
And there's there's a scraping at the door.
I'm super horny and nude. Let's tell scary stories.
Who's up for a scary story? And so like while the intensity of the scary story is building up, they hear this scraping at the door and they go to open it, and it's Mr. Big Head, but he's an icicle. And they kick him because they think he's an abominable snow monkey.
Yeah, one of the stories that they were telling.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They were talking about it, and Heifer freaks out and does the oh!
Yeah,
freaking out about it.
Yeah.
So Mr. Big Head imagines in his mind
because he's like falling out. He's got like a brain thaw.
that they are demons as he's thawing out, and he starts acting weird and just going stir crazy with cabin fever. Basically,
Yes.
I would assume that this is where the episode title comes into play.
Oh yeah, yep.
He makes a contraption that acts like a rocket ship out of parts that he finds all over the. I think we've got like the door is like the hinge door for like what covers the fire, like an iron grate door is there. Just all kinds of different like metal parts and things that he could construct this rocket out of, and jettisons them out of the roof of the house, basically. And then rescue crews lift out the others.
Yep.
Including Heifer and one of those like big vests that they would like if you were going to rescue a cow, you would have to rescue them in like a big harness type thing,
right?
Because he's too big, so he has to have one of those. Mr. Big Head is stuck on a desert island after jettisoning down with a rocket with a couple of pirate pelicans, which we know that all pelicans are pirates according to Rocko.
That's right.
Lore.
We've seen it.
We've seen that happen. Who are also playing shadow puppets and trying to guess,
Yes.
and he's just kind of sitting there.
He's miserable
With a miserable, like, he's got tons of stubble. He just looks like shit.
Yeah.
And has this, like, dull look on his face.
Right. You were talking about making shadow puppets. Have you been able to make any cool shadow puppets?
Not as cool as Mr. Big Head.
Okay.
But,
What's your go-tos?
My go-tos?
Yeah.
You know, you got your quintessential like dogs.
Yeah.
I can make some pretty cool convincing people. I can do a snake as well. Like not like I'm the snake.
You say you can do a convincing people?
Like a person's face.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Like make it look like an eye, and I can do one of these to make it look like it's blinking.
Oh.
And then the snake, I can do one of these like this. It kind of looks like the tooth.
Yeah.
But I'll tell Betty like it's a snake coming to get you, kind of a thing.
Look at you. You're talented.
Yeah. What about you?
No.
Cool.
I don't know. I mean, I can't even say. I feel like I make a pretty good bunny.
I feel like all of this just leads up to us having a movie night and then doing shadow puppets.
Like I feel like I can make a good bunny with like some teeth and an eye on there.
Yeah.
And but that's about as far as I've gone. Not super creative.
My stuff doesn't usually go into using both hands either. You know what I mean? Like you see that a lot with people doing
that are really
more
good
intricate things like Mr. Big Head. I don't usually go for the two hands. I've never figured out like what else can I build on to this with my second hand?
Right. Yeah.
So,
how can I?
I mean, I guess maybe I might be better at it than I am.
I bet you are.
13.2.
Yeah.
Segment 2, we've got Rinse and Spit, and this will be this is it. This is it for the season.
So much build up.
This is we get a couple of pivotal characters here.
Yeah.
One returning, one new character.
Yeah,
that is pretty important.
She can be important.
Yeah. So Filbert is following Heifer with pliers.
Kind of like a horror kind of opening. It's
Very
like,
much so.
You kind of, I don't even know if you see Filbert right away.
You don't. I think
it's
just a silhouette
through his eyes.
Yeah.
I think it's like through his eyes, and you get like the pliers, and you see Heifer running away. Yeah.
So Rocko, then it cuts to Rocko brushing his teeth, but he's also brushing his head with the toothbrush, like it's a brush.
And then he builds up like the foam,
and uses it almost like making like a face, like you would if you had like a bubble bath.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and you're like, oh, I've got a giant beard, kind of a thing, or whatever.
Yes.
And he just manipulates it and changes it to different things, which is super odd because that's your toothpaste spit bubbles that you're doing that with. Heifer barges in, and while this is going on, freaking out because at that point in time, Filbert is still chasing him.
Yeah.
And he's like slamming against the door, just panting about it, asking Rocko for help, basically. Rocko lets Filbert come in because he's knocking on the door and asking if he could come in.
Right.
Filbert asks to be a patient for his final dental exam for a free toothbrush.
Yes.
So he asks Rocko this if he wants to do it, and he says, "Of course."
Because Heifer's scared. Obviously, Heifer's not into it.
100%.
Rocco's got them perfect teeth. He thinks. He says, "Yeah, I mean, my pearly whites are good," or something like that.
Rocko says no because he has perfect teeth. But Filbert brings up that he saved Rocco's life on the playground.
That's right. Yeah.
When they were going through another flashback somehow when they were younger.
Yes.
Which I guess this is maybe still part of maybe the same trip that we had talked about before.
Yeah, we can go to the theory that he visited his grandma in the States from
maybe
time
it was
to
like
time.
a summer abroad, and that's why like there's so much of it whenever he was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it could be like every summer he'd spend a week with his grandparents in a different area. I used to do that with my grandparents, so makes sense.
A bunch of poodles go up to Rocko on the playground during this flashback, and wanting to collect his puppy, which is a little tiny, teeny baby Spunky at this point. And Filbert pulls Rocko into his shell to save him when he hears the word fight. And so you see the inside of the shell. It's all extra roomy inside of there. And he's wearing just this like an undershirt and boxer shorts. Yeah. He's just like, we'll just hide in here until they tire themselves out. Filbert warns the poodles of a wild pig. And that's when we get the second appearance of, I'm a wild pig.
Yes.
And Rocko says, thanks, Filbert. I owe you one. And that's he agrees to it.
Yeah,
says yes, he's gonna do it. He has to. He's contractually obligated apparently now
because he owes him.
Yes.
Filbert's nervous because they're now at the Academy o' Dentistry, which is where Filbert is evidently going to school. Since he got fired from kind of a lot of comics, he decides he's going to be a dentist instead. And he says, I hope I don't screw up your teeth or anything. That's
got to be such a good, relaxing thing to hear before you get ready to walk into the front door of this place.
Right. And I guess when you're doing something like this, you have to explain to the group of people what you're going to do. And he says,
it's like a
panel of,
what is it? Like like the theater.
Yeah.
What is that called? I forget what it's called.
A theater.
You know what I'm talking about? Like where the patient and the doctor are down there.
Yeah.
And they have the room of other doctors and they explain everything.
Yeah.
Is it just a theater?
I have no idea what.
I felt like it had a specific name to it.
I'm sure there's a more technical medical term for what that is.
Doctor theater.
Like an observation room.
Sure.
Where they observe all the other students are observing Filbert as well as their doctor, Dr. Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Is there. And Filbert says, I'm going to perform a complete dentist thing on my patient.
Dr. Hutchinson, as you said, is there. She's the teacher who's setting up to grade him with her hook hand. And she does instead of a pencil, she just carves out her scores onto the board and the paper in there, which is like very grating. Anytime anything happens with their hook, you see all the other students just do that.
It's like nails on a chalkboard, but worse.
Literally, it's worse because it's just a metal hook.
It's like hook on a chalkboard.
Exactly. Filbert finds a cavity in the back of Rocco's mouth and has Rocko do the old rinse and spit. But for some reason, Rocco spits really sticky. It sticks to his mouth. It's just like, bang, bang, you know what I mean? Like almost it's like a full-on guitar chord.
Stringy.
Filbert cuts it with some sutures that he has there. Filbert then applies electrodes to Rocco's offending tooth, shocking it.
That's a way to do it, I guess.
At this point in time, we also realize and see that somehow the teeth are sentient.
They've got faces a little bit.
They have faces and expressions and emotions because other teeth kind of try to shuffle themselves out of the way to the offending tooth that then has a face just like, you know, and freaking out whenever he's getting ready to get shocked. This electroshock causes Rocco's tooth to get pissed.
Yeah.
It turns on the X-O-Matic, which is just a big X-ray machine, I guess, that has gamma radiation of some kind. Because that it does a complete Incredible Hulk on him and enlarges the tooth out of Rocco's mouth, which is just weird to see because it is still attached, growing out of his mouth, and it uses its little roots. Bottom roots to kind of step out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Leaving it and then growing even more to a King Kong-esque size almost.
Yes.
The tooth then walks off with the building that it's in on its head, with I'm presumably all the people inside at that point. Filbert just says, "Oh well," asks Dr. Hutchinson if she wants to go get a soda.
He's not even worried about being a dentist.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. You want to go get a soda? She says that he's in the middle of an exam and that there's a giant mutant tooth part of the test. So this was planned.
Evidently, at least for her.
Literally, I mean, it is on the test. It is a box that needs to be checked that he defeats this giant mutant tooth now.
It's a requirement.
Which he is then automatically kind of put out by. He's just like, okay.
So he dresses up like a tooth fairy because I guess it's part of protocol. And approaches the tooth at the top of the Conglommo building where the tooth is now hanging out, such as King Kong.
Yes.
He commands the tooth, put Rocko down, And Dr. Hutchinson's hook falls off because she also has Dr. Hutchinson, right? And like,
she gets picked up.
Yeah, and her hook
much
falls
like
off.
Fay
I
Wray
guess. Yes.
From King Kong, and Rocko in the other hand. It climbs up to the top of the Conglommo building. The hook falls off of her hand, and then he sees the opportunity with the hook.
So he decides to take the hook and throw it at the cavity, at the little hole in the cavity of the tooth.
Yeah.
And evidently that's like a weak spot. It just is a relief valve because as soon as he hooks
it's like the root or the nerve or whatever still must be in there, because it's just like that automatically damages it. Like that is the weak point.
He shrinks back down. He just like gets back into, he's a tiny little tooth again, and gets back in Rocko's mouth.
Super happy. All the other teeth are glad that he's back inside the mouth.
Yeah.
Filbert gets the Medal of Valor, but doesn't pass his test. Unfortunately,
understandably
has to do that. But she is ready for that soda now. But Filbert's not, because he's pretty bummed out about it.
Not now.
But she's you can see that now she realizes that she's kind of into him.
Yeah.
Filbert doesn't want to be a dentist anyways. He said he just wants to be a chimney sweep. Like that's his lifelong aspiration. For some reason, he just now has come to fruition with the fact that he wants to do that. He wants to jump down your flute and spank it clean with my brush till I can't spank it no more.
It's a little weird.
It's very sexual. Gordon shows up at the end, who is a foot.
Yeah. We haven't met Gordon before this.
Nope.
We'll see him a lot more after this.
Yes.
But it's new.
And he warns you to take care of your teeth and don't chew on tinfoil. And see you later, Nits.
Do you know what Nits is?
No.
I don't either.
I
thought maybe that was a thing. Maybe he'll use it. Maybe it's a tagline that Gordon uses. We'll have to pay attention.
I guess so. I don't know what that's meant to be, though.
I don't either.
I'm going to type in Nits.
I don't know. Have you ever said, I owe you one to a person?
Yeah.
Have they ever come back to collect on it?
No.
Such as Filbert and Rocko?
No. Not unless it was like money, but I don't think I've ever like borrowed money from somebody that was either not just giving it to me,
right,
or I would know in the back of my mind I need to pay this person back as soon as I can.
But like a favor, like somebody did something solid, and they ever come to collect on it and be like, "You said you owe me one, dude."
No, I don't think so.
Dude.
No, nothing like that.
No, I would. If someone did, is there any like what's off limits?
What is off limits?
Like killing?
Yeah, I wouldn't kill anybody.
That's not the line.
I wouldn't kill anybody.
If you're like, they're like, you owe me one. Remember that time that I saved your life? You got to end this life over here for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be into that. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, if you need to end my life or something and you're up for that to make up for this other person or something, I guess you could do that. But
you'd sacrifice yourself?
Yeah.
That's awfully nice of you.
I'm noble. But no. What about you? Have you had somebody like actually like try to come up and collect on something? Have you said that before?
I mean, I'm sure I did. I'm sure like I owe you one. Thanks, man. I owe you one.
Yeah.
But like if one were to collect on that,
it's also not like you hear it more in books and movies and stuff like that. It's not a common phrase that people just really say out in the open that often.
I think it used to be, and then people started collecting on them, and they're like, "Don't use that anymore."
All the shitty people from the 80s.
Don't say that. They're like, because people started coming back, like in Rocko's case, they started making TV shows that reflected real life, and they're like, you don't want to say that because somebody might want you to be their student at a dentist school.
Yeah,
it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. Podcast day is a very dangerous day.
This has been an IFNZ production.
Yeah.